Hello and welcome to today's episode of Focus Atlanta. I am your host, Keisha Lanslin. Thanks so much for tuning in with us this Sunday morning. In our first segment, we're going to talk specifically to the ladies. We have a lot of questions, many of us of a certain age, about perimenopause and menopause. Well, I'm here with Jackie Piasta.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks so much for giving us a little legs up, a little heads up. We have so many questions when our body is going through these, periods of perimenopause, and now we're not sleeping, and now we have night sweats, and all these things are happening. What type of advice are you giving to women?
So I think one of the most important things to do is just to kind of hash out the differences in the stages, right? Because there's all these different terms that circle around. What's early menopause, right? What's late menopause? What's menopause even in and of itself? And then the new kind of kid on the block is perimenopause. Everybody wants to talk about perimenopause. And I think it's because the generations that are in perimenopause right now are very social media savvy. They're very web and internet focused. We grew up with a generation of technology. And so we're comfortable with information there. So that's the biggest thing is kind of defining those terms. And so if you're okay, I can go through and we can kind of talk about the different stages.
Oh,
So
that'd be a great place to start. Yes, please.
yeah. Yeah. So menopause is a natural biological transition. Any woman who is fortunate enough to live long enough will experience menopause. And in our country, it happens on average between the ages of 51 and 52. And it essentially marks the end of your reproductive years. So essentially, I say it's kind of your ovaries retirement party, so to speak. And the clinical definition of it is that you've gone 12 consecutive months without experiencing a menstrual period. And obviously there can be different manifestations of this. A lot of women are using long-term contraceptives that take away their periods, or maybe they've had a hysterectomy, and so they're not going to experience that 12-month free cycle. But generally speaking, that's what menopause is. Now, perimenopause is just means the time leading up to menopause. And one of the biggest facts or myths that I like to dispel is that, perimenopause can start for women even in their mid 30s. If, the average duration of symptoms is highly variable, can go anywhere from 4 years to as high as 14 years. Women of color typically experience symptoms longer, so upwards of 10 plus years. And so I always say if you are a woman and you just feel like something is different, something's changed in your body, something's off. And of course, us women, we have so many hats, right? And so we have a lot of stressors and a lot of things going on. So that's always the thing that we don't want to attribute everything to this transition. But if you're a woman that just knows something's off, trust that instinct and see if you can find, seek out a healthcare professional to help you discern that. But perimenopause just means the time leading up to it. It's when our hormone levels are starting to change and shift. Our ovarian function is declining. Our cycles might be slightly irregular. And this typically happens around the late 30s to the mid 40s is where most women are going to start to experience this.
I gotta say, Jackie, you just lifted the veil off of a bunch of ladies' eyes because they're thinking, I can't be going through this for this long, or this can't be lasting this long. You've totally changed the game for so many women just in those explanations. Because I think that when things start happening to our body, the question is, well, wait, I'm not there yet. So what is this? What is this transition period? Why can't I sleep? What is with the night sweats? But you've just given so much clarity in that explanation.
Yeah, I think we just need to put a name to it, right? That's the beautiful thing. I mean, so many women are experiencing all these different weird and unusual and very distressing things going on in their body. And I think it's very powerful to actually be able to put a name to that and assign it, and then be able to move from there and say, okay, well, if this is what it is, then, and what even is that? Like, what are the symptoms? You said night sweats, but, there's a lot of different symptoms that women can experience.
And to your point, I think that sometimes that's why we don't really talk about it. We don't talk about it amongst each other because it's like, oh, my mother never went through this, or my mom never had hot flashes, or, my sister didn't experience this. We all kind of have experienced it differently in our own skin. And so it's kind of hard to warn your little sister or your best friend because you don't know what those symptoms might be for them.
Yeah. Well, and there's, unfortunately, there's a normalization in our culture of that female suffering, right? Or just kind of sucking it up, and or can she white knuckle it or get through it? And I think that the more transparency and the more we lift this veil and we talk about it collectively and have conversations like this, women could say, "Oh my gosh, I'm not alone." I mean, 6,000 women every day in the United States transition into menopause. I mean, this is not a small number. That's every single day. 75 million women are currently in some stage of menopause. And so, again, it's just talking about it and releasing some of that stigma, right, that we associate.
Yes.
And generationally speaking, we're a different generation than our moms and our grannies and so we want
Yeah.
different things. We need different things.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate that website you had there for us. We appreciate you lifting the veil a little for our ladies in the Atlanta area. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise, likewise.
All right, ladies, you are not alone. There's quite a few of us out in these perimenopause, menopause streets. So take the opportunity to maybe visit the website, learn a bit more. Because sometimes when you know more, you can adjust and feel a little better about what's happening. So education is absolutely the key. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to this segment of Focus Atlanta. We'll be right back with more.